Earth looks calm from space. Clouds move slowly. Oceans shine under the sun. Cities glow at night. But this calm is an illusion. Right now, Earth is spinning. At the equator, the ground beneath your feet is moving at around 1,670 kilometers per hour. You do not feel it because everything around you is moving with it. The air, the oceans, your house, your body. All of it is traveling together. But what if that suddenly changed? What if, without warning, Earth stopped spinning? The first second would be the most violent moment in human history. If Earth's surface stopped instantly, everything not perfectly attached to the planet would keep moving because of momentum. Near the equator, that means objects could continue moving eastward at more than 1,600 kilometers per hour. People would be thrown. Vehicles would become projectiles. Trees, buildings, and loose objects would be ripped apart or launched sideways. But the most dangerous thing would not just be the ground. It would be the air. The atmosphere would not stop neatly with the planet. It would keep moving, creating winds far stronger than any hurricane ever recorded. Imagine the entire sky turning into a wall of invisible force. Cities would be blasted by winds moving faster than commercial aircraft. Windows would shatter. Towers would collapse. Anything exposed would be torn apart. Even if you were underground, the pressure changes. Collapsing structures, fires, and flying debris would make survival extremely difficult. For a few minutes, Earth would not feel like a planet anymore. It would feel like standing inside a global explosion. Then the oceans would arrive. Earth's water is also moving with the planet. If the solid ground suddenly stopped, the oceans would continue rushing eastward. Coastlines would be destroyed by mega tsunamis. Entire coastal cities could disappear under walls of water. The water would not behave like a normal wave. It would be a moving mass of ocean, dragging ships, buildings, forests, and land with it. Low-lying countries and islands would be hit especially hard. But even after the first waves, the planet would still not be stable. Earth is not a perfect sphere. Because it spins, it bulges slightly around the equator. If Earth stopped spinning permanently, the force helping create that bulge would disappear. Over time, water would slowly redistribute across the planet. The oceans would move away from the equator and gather more toward the poles. Huge areas near the equator could become exposed land, while northern and southern regions could flood dramatically. The map of Earth would no longer look familiar. Countries, coastlines, and oceans could be completely reshaped. But the disaster would not end with wind and water. If Earth stopped rotating but still orbited the sun, a normal 24-hour day would disappear. Instead, day and night would become extremely long. One side of Earth could face the sun for months, heating up under constant daylight. The other side would be trapped in long darkness, freezing without sunlight. Weather systems would become extreme. The hot side would bake. The cold side would freeze. Between them, massive storms could form where hot and cold air collide. Life would struggle to adapt. Agriculture would collapse. Ecosystems would fail. Human survival would depend on controlled shelters, artificial food systems, and protected energy supplies. There is another danger: Earth's magnetic field. Earth's magnetic field is generated deep inside the planet by moving molten metal in the outer core. The exact system is complex, but Earth's rotation helps influence these internal motions. If Earth stopped rotating, the long-term behavior of the magnetic field could change. A weaker or unstable magnetic field would make Earth more vulnerable to solar radiation and charged particles from space. That would be dangerous for satellites, power grids, communication systems, and possibly life on the surface over long periods. Survival would depend on how suddenly Earth stopped. If it stopped instantly, most surface life would be in extreme danger. The winds, tsunamis, debris, and structural collapse would be catastrophic. Underground facilities, deep bunkers, submarines, and some remote polar regions might offer better chances. But survival after the first disaster would be a different challenge. Food chains would collapse. The climate would become hostile. The oceans would shift. Communication networks would fail. Humanity would need to rebuild inside protected zones, possibly near the border between the burning day side and freezing night side. So what if Earth stopped spinning? It would not simply be a strange day where the sun froze in the sky. It would be one of the most destructive events imaginable. The ground would stop. The air would keep moving. The oceans would rise. The climate would break. And the planet we know would become something completely different. The most terrifying thing about Earth's rotation is not that it moves so fast. It is that we only survive because everything moves with it. This is reality glitch, where the impossible becomes a question.